Hi everybody. I thought I would do a video on changing the fork oil on my Victory Cross Country. I've got everything pretty much prepped. Obviously the wheels off it, and what I did was, and I don't know that it's actually necessary, but I put a piece of masking tape on it with a line with left, and one over here with a piece of masking tape, and I don't know if you can see that or not, with right on it. So I want these to go back in the very same location that they came out of. I did notice when I was prepping this that this tube on the left seems to be a little bit lower in the triple tree than the one on the right, and I'm going to correct that when I reinstall them and make sure they're both identically the same height according to the manual. Anyways, what I did already was, before I even take the tubes out of the triple trees, I loosened up the cap, only because it made it a lot easier than trying to do it afterwards. It's just thought that it would be a little easier this way than trying to hold on to it and loosen up the caps. So I've got that done, and what I want to do now is I'm going to loosen up the triple trees and see if I can slide this tube out. They, according to the manual, they only want you to go a quarter turn at a time when you loosen these up. For some reason, I don't really know. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll see how this goes. These seem to be pretty loose, so it should, hopefully with any luck, come out of there. And it does. Actually, very easily. I'm very surprised. And that's one. And I'm just going to lay this aside for the time being. And I'm going to go work on the other side. And what I do is I just put something over the tank to protect it and put a bungee cord on it to keep the handlebars turned to one side so that I can actually have a little more room to work on it. Let's see. I'm going to loosen up the cap on this one also before I take it apart. If I can get in there. Yep. There's that one. They're a little tough to get at, only because you got the cables and everything in the way. But you got to hold the bottom of the tube and turn the wrench at the same time. But it's a lot easier than trying to do this on the bench. Okay, and we'll loosen up the triple tree. I'm hoping you can see all this. Again, I mark these. I don't know that it's necessary, but I do want them to go back in exactly the same way that they came out. I don't want to run the risk of messing up the handling or anything on the bike, so I don't know that it would, but this one's coming out. And there we go. They're both out. Now, what I did was I made up these two brackets, or little fork holders, and these tubes should just hang in there like that, and then I'll let them drain for a few hours once I get this all apart. I've got little cups here to catch the oil in, and we'll see how it goes. Try and get, there it comes. I'm actually just unscrewing the tube from the cap, and there it is. So now we'll just take this and let it run into there. The oil looks pretty dirty. Not much oil comes out of them. It's going to take a while for it to drain. But that's one. I guess you're supposed to pump this a few times to get all the oil out of it. But we'll let that sit there and drain. And we'll start working on the other one. Whoop. All right, start working on the other one here. Getting this one apart. There we go. And there it is. That one's apart. Okay, they've been draining for probably, at least 2.5 hours, and I think everything's out of them. They're have stopped dripping for quite a while. I pumped them a few times in the meantime, and I don't believe there's anything any more that I can do to get any more oil out of them. So anyways, we're going to check and see what we've got for how much oil we did get into each one of them, and see what we got here. And they appear that, I don't know if you can see that, but they appear to be right at the 3 and 4 on this measuring cup. They're both equal, so that's a good thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip these over, drain that oil out, get rid of it, and then I'll flip these over and put the oil back, put the fresh oil back into it. And this is the fork oil that you use. It's a Type 2 inverted from Victory. It's pretty expensive stuff. And the part number is 2877421. So there you have it. But anyways, I'm gonna get rid of this oil, and then we'll refill them. All right. Okay, so what I did was I emptied out one container. I'm saving the other container, just make sure that I got the right dimensions, the right amount of oil going into it. What I did was I tipped the fork over, set it back in my little block here. And by the way, this is 2 1/8 inches inside. if anybody wanted to try and make something like that. I put a little stool with a jack stand on top of it to keep this open so that I can add the oil to it. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, but that's what I'm going to do. So now what I want to do is I want to add the oil to my container and make sure I get it at the same height that the old oil was that came out of it. And believe it or not, I didn't think the old oil was that bad. So, and bear in mind that the bike does have 32,000 miles on it, and that's where I was at when I decided to change the oil. So, I'm going to bring this up to the same level. That would be right there. I don't know if you can actually see that, but it's right at the 3 and the 4 on the line. And it's less than 16 ounces, so a little bit less than a pint. But anyways, we're going to try and see if we can do this without making a mess of things. And hopefully this will work. It seems to be. I didn't drop any, I didn't spill any outside of it, so it's all going in there. And I would say that's pretty much it. But that's that. That's the first tube done. And what I'm going to do now is take this jack stand out from underneath it. They say to pump it a few times just to release any air bubbles or anything that are in the oil and let it come to the surface. Now I'm going to let them sit like that for a little while. Now I'll work on the other one. And get this one done. Again, I'm just doing this to hold the cap up so that I can get the oil into it. And that's that. Now I'm going to add oil to here again. And 3 and 4, I'm a little bit over it. That looks like it right there. Perfect. Okay. Now hopefully I can do this again without making a mess. Okay, that's the second tube done. Now let's take this out of there and let that drop down. Give it a few pumps. Now I'm going to let them sit for maybe 10 minutes or so, and hopefully any air that was in there will come up to the surface and bubble out. All right, so I'm going to get back to you in a couple of minutes. Okay, we're ready to put the fork tube back in it again. They're all set. Just a matter of sliding them in and getting them at the proper height. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, I've got the forks set in. They're not torqued yet. The bolts haven't been torqued down, but I've got my marks all lined up on both sides, and the tubes are at the proper height, which is 285 millimeters from the bottom of the bottom triple tree to the top of the cap. I don't know if you can, maybe this will help, but it's to the top of the cap right there, and it comes out to about 11¼ inches for anybody who doesn't want to deal with millimeters. And both sides are in, and they're both just set there. They haven't been torqued in yet, but again, it's about 11¼ inches from the top of the cap here to the bottom of the triple tree. And then you're all set. The only thing left now is to torque them in, and then I can probably start putting the front wheel back on it again. But that's pretty much it. That's how you change the oil in them, and I won't know until actually I get the thing back on the ground and try it. But the way it's snowing outside right now, I don't think I'm going to be checking it anytime soon. So anyways, that's pretty much it. And I'm going to go ahead and torque the triple tree. That's 17 foot-pounds. That's all there is to it. Now it's just a question of putting the wheel in and getting the front end buttoned up. Thanks for watching, and all I can say is give it a shot if you have the mechanical ability to do it, or the tools. And I don't think it's that bad a job. I think it was pretty easy. Probably the hardest part is taking the front wheel off it. But anyways, I hope the video helps. I hope it is informative enough to have somebody give it a shot if they want to. Don't forget to either like, and try not to dislike if you can help it, and subscribe if you want. Please make any comments you want. I appreciate the comments because it helps me to improve what I do here. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching. And ride safe.